Welcome, everybody, to another deep dive. This time we're going on a journey to meet a creature that's practically a celebrity in the reptile world, even if most people haven't even heard of it. The Tuatara.
And what a fascinating creature it is.
So before we get too deep into this, we like to provide some context for our listeners. For this deep dive, we're going to be using excerpts from the Tuatara Wikipedia page, which is, it's a treasure trove of information on these guys.
It really is.
So have you ever come across a creature that just makes you question everything you thought you knew about the animal kingdom?
Oh, absolutely. And the Tuatara is a perfect example of that. They might look like something you'd see in a nature documentary about lizards, but I assure you, they're in a category all their own.
Yeah, looking at a picture, my first thought was lizard. So, why isn't it classified as one? What's the big deal?
Well, you're not alone. Early scientists made the same mistake. Back in 1831, they only had a Tuatara skull to work with. Based on some, shall we say, superficial resemblances, they lumped it in with the lizards. It wasn't until 1867, when a zoologist named ACLG Gunther took a closer look, that the scientific community realized how unique the Tuatara really is.
So what did this Gunther guy just have, like a super-powered magnifying glass? What did he see that others missed?
He noticed some key differences, particularly in the skull, which ultimately led to a whole new classification, rhynchocephalia.
Okay, I'm going to need you to break that down for me.
It translates to beaked.
Beaked. All right, now we're talking. What's so special about their skull?
Well, for starters, they have this thing called a complete lower temporal bar. Imagine a lizard skull. Now, picture an opening right behind the eye socket. That's the lower temporal fenestra. Most lizards have it, but not our friend the Tuatara. They've got this bony bar that completely closes off that opening.
A bony bar? Is that like a common thing in the reptile world?
Not really. It's actually a characteristic more common in ancient reptiles. It's like finding a vintage car part in a brand new model. It provides this fascinating glimpse into their evolutionary past.
So this little bony bar is like a time capsule, hinting at their ancestors from millions of years ago.
Precisely. And we're just getting started. What about those teeth? Have you ever heard of a reptile that needs to adjust its diet as it gets older because its teeth don't change?
Wait, what? Are you telling me Tuataras have like a midlife crisis diet change because their teeth just give up?
Something like that. Their teeth are fascinating. They're fused to the jawbone and have this beak-like tip on the upper jaw. And here's the kicker. They don't get replaced throughout their entire life.
Whoa. So no trips to the reptile dentist for these guys. But seriously, how do they survive with the same set of teeth their entire lives? That doesn't sound very practical.
You're right. It's not practical, which is why the Tuatara has adapted. Younger Tuataras, with their sharper teeth, can handle tougher prey, like beetles. But as they get older, with those teeth not getting any younger, they have to switch to a softer menu. Earthworms, slugs, that sort of thing.
Wow. That's incredible. Evolution really does find a way, huh? But speaking of evolution, I read that their jaws don't just move up and down like ours. How does that whole jaw sliding thing work?
It's a unique mechanism. Unlike our jaws, which primarily move up and down, the Tuatara's lower jaw slides forward when it eats. This sliding motion, combined with the way their upper and lower teeth interlock, creates a seriously powerful shearing force. They can cut through some surprisingly tough materials, like chitin and even bone.
Chitin, like what, crab shells?
Exactly. They're equipped to handle a diverse menu, even with those unchanging teeth.
That's incredible. Their skull is like a multi-tool designed for survival. But that's not all, right? They have other adaptations too, don't they?
Oh, absolutely. And that's what makes them so fascinating to study. They're like a walking, breathing puzzle from the past, and each piece we uncover just leads to more questions.
Well, on that note, I think we're going to have to take a quick break, but don't worry, we'll be right back to dive deeper into the world of the Tuatara. So last time we left off talking about the Tuatara's incredible skull and those teeth that just don't quit. But now it's time to dive into something even weirder.
Even weirder than teeth that never get replaced. I'm intrigued.
Oh yeah, get ready for this because this is where we get into the truly weird and wonderful world of Tuatara senses. Get this. These guys have a third eye.
It's one of the things that makes them so fascinating.
A third eye? Come on, seriously, is that even possible?
It sounds like something out of science fiction, but it's true. The Tuatara's third eye is the real deal. It's called a parietal eye, and it's located right on top of their head.
Okay, so hold on. It's on top of their head. Like, what can they actually see with it? Can they, see through things?
I'm afraid not. It's not X-ray vision or anything quite that dramatic. It's more of a light sensor than a fully functional eye.
Hmm.
It's not winning any staring contests anytime soon,
Yeah.
but it can distinguish between light and dark.
Okay, so maybe not superpowers, but still, pretty cool. What does it actually do then, if it's not for, seeing in the traditional sense?
Scientists believe it plays a crucial role in regulating the tuatara's circadian rhythm. It basically acts like their internal clock, helping them know when to sleep, when to be active, and, just generally live their best tuatara life.
So like a built-in alarm clock.
Exactly. And there's even more to it. Some scientists theorize it might even help them detect seasonal changes, which is pretty important for any animal that relies so heavily on its environment. And get this, some scientists even speculate it might play a role in thermoregulation.
Whoa, talk about multitasking. So they have three eyes to help them navigate their world, but what about ears? Can they even hear anything?
Yes, they can hear, but not in the same way we do. Their hearing is actually pretty different from ours and a lot of other reptiles.
Okay, so no cute little ear flap.
You got it. No ear flaps here. They don't have external ears like we do. Instead, their hearing mechanism relies on picking up vibrations, particularly within a specific frequency range.
So kind of like how some snakes sense vibrations in the ground.
Exactly. It's a different way of experiencing sound, but it's effective for their environment.
Wow, so they're tuned into a whole different sound wave.
Oh,
Fascinating. So we've talked about sight, hearing. What about smell? How's their sense of smell?
well, their sense of smell is particularly interesting. Unlike what you might expect, it's actually more similar to birds than to their reptile relatives.
Birds. Seriously. Now, I'm really confused. What do birds have to do with a reptile's sense of smell?
Well, birds, like the tuatara, actually rely heavily on their sense of smell. They have a surprisingly large number of these things called odorant receptors, which are what allow them to detect different scents.
Huh, so they're sniffing out their dinner just like a hawk eyeing its prey. That's amazing. I never would have guessed that.
It all comes down to adaptation. Their senses have evolved over millions of years to make them perfectly suited to their environment.
It really makes you wonder what else we might discover about these amazing creatures. But speaking of adaptations, we got to talk about their bodies. I mean, their senses are one thing, but the source material mentions something about their spine being shaped like an hourglass.
Hmm.
An hourglass.
I know, right? You don't often think of spines as having a fashionable figure, but the tuatara's vertebrae, those are the bones that make up the spine, have this unique hourglass shape.
That's so strange. Why an hourglass? What's the evolutionary advantage of that? And how on earth did scientists even figure that out?
Great questions. It's actually a characteristic more common in fish and some amphibians, believe it or not. We don't have all the answers yet, but it likely has to do with the way they move and support their bodies. It's just another one of those fascinating quirks that makes the tuatara so unique.
So it's like they're rocking a vintage design. That's incredible. But the hourglass spine isn't their only skeletal secret, is it? There was something in the source material about something called gastralia, too, right? What are those?
You've been doing your research, yes. Gastralia are these rib-like bones that are located in the abdomen. They're considered a pretty ancient trait, actually, found in some other reptiles and even in extinct animals like dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs. Okay, now you're speaking my language. Tell me more about this dinosaur connection.
Well, picture those early land vertebrates, right? As they were making that transition from water to land, they needed a little extra support and protection. These skeletal features, like gastralia, along with other bony plates and structures, would have provided that extra layer of defense, almost like a built-in suit of armor.
Wow. So they had their own built-in armor. Was that just for protection, or did it serve any other purposes too?
That's a great question. Scientists believe that besides protection, these gastralia might have also played a role in breathing and locomotion for those early creatures. Most animals today have lost this feature, but our friend the tuatara is a living example of these ancient adaptations, which is why they're so fascinating to study.
Wow, that's incredible. It's like they're carrying a piece of prehistoric history within their very bones. So if these adaptations are so great, why haven't more creatures held on to them? Why are the tuatara the only ones with these leftover dinosaur features?
That's the million-dollar question. It all comes down to the beautiful and often messy process of evolution. What works for one species might not work for another. Remember, evolution isn't about finding the absolute best solution. It's about finding a solution that works well enough for a species to survive and reproduce. The tuatara, in their own unique way, have found a winning formula that's allowed them to thrive for millions of years.
Millions of years. It really makes you wonder what other secrets are hidden in their biology.
And that brings us to another one of the tuatara's most remarkable features, Their incredibly long lifespan, we're talking over 100 years, easy.
Wait, over 100 years? Seriously, what's their secret? Do they have a stash of anti-aging cream hidden away somewhere?
If they do, they're not sharing.
Hmm.
But jokes aside, their longevity is likely due to a whole bunch of factors. Things like their slow metabolism, their island lifestyle with relatively few predators, and probably even some genetic factors that we're just beginning to understand.
So they're not just a window into the past, but potentially a key to a longer future. I like it.
Exactly. By studying these fascinating creatures, we might just unlock secrets that could benefit human health and longevity too.
It's incredible to think this little reptile might hold the key to a longer life. Speaking of which, it looks like we're going to have to wrap up this part of our deep dive. But don't worry, when we come back, we'll explore the challenges facing these amazing creatures and the inspiring conservation efforts working to protect them. So we're back, and if you're just joining us, we're in the middle of a deep dive into the fascinating world of the Tuatara, a creature that's basically a living dinosaur.
Well, not a dinosaur exactly, but about as close as we can get.
Right, right. But they've got all these ancient features and a super long lifespan. But let's face it, even with all those amazing adaptations, life on those islands isn't always a walk in the park, is it?
Unfortunately not. Even for a creature that's been around for millions of years, the Tuatara faces some very real threats today.
Yeah, and that's what I really wanted to dig into today. What are those threats? And what's being done to protect them?
Well, it's a multifaceted challenge, like
Mm.
most things in conservation. One of the biggest issues they face is something we touched on earlier, introduced predators, particularly rats.
Ah, those Polynesian rats. Those guys seem to be public enemy number one for the Tuatara. But what makes them such a problem specifically for these guys? I mean, the Tuatara have survived for millions of years, right?
Exactly, and that's part of the problem. They evolved in an environment where mammals, especially rodents, were largely absent. They simply didn't develop the defenses needed to deal with these new predators. It's like they've been playing checkers for millions of years and suddenly someone's introduced them to chess.
And those rats are grandmasters. So what do you even do? How do you protect a species that's essentially been outmaneuvered by evolution?
Well, you have to get creative. Fortunately, New Zealand recognized the plight of the Tuatara back in 1895, making it illegal to harm them. And they're also listed on CITES Appendix 1, which helps control international trade and prevents them from being taken from the wild.
That's a good start, but it sounds like they needed more than just laws on paper, right?
Absolutely. Those rats weren't going to pack their bags just because it was against the law. Conservationists realized they had to address the root of the problem, which meant tackling the rat populations directly.
So how do you even begin to get rid of rats on an entire island? I mean, that sounds like a massive undertaking.
It is a huge task. It involves a combination of methods: trapping, baiting, even using specially trained dogs to sniff out those last remaining rats. It takes incredible dedication and a lot of collaboration, but it can be done.
And it's been successful.
In many cases, yes. Several islands have successfully eradicated those invasive rats, which has allowed tuatara populations to rebound. They've even been able to reintroduce tuatara to closely monitored areas on the mainland, places where they haven't been seen in centuries.
That's fantastic news. So there's hope for these ancient reptiles after all, but it sounds like a constant battle, especially with climate change looming large.
You're right, climate change is another major concern. Remember how we talked about temperature-dependent sex determination in tuataras?
Yeah, how the warmer the eggs, the more likely they are to hatch as males.
Precisely. As global temperatures rise, it could disrupt the delicate balance of male and female tuatara being born, which could, in turn, impact their ability to reproduce and thrive long-term.
It's amazing and a little scary how these environmental issues are all interconnected. It really highlights how fragile these ecosystems can be.
Exactly. It's a delicate balancing act, and one that requires our attention and action if we want creatures like the tuatara to be around for future generations to marvel at.
Well said. And on that note, it looks like we've reached the end of our deep dive into the incredible world of the Tuatara. We've traveled through millions of years, explored their unique adaptations, and grappled with the very real challenges they face today.
And while we've learned a great deal about these fascinating creatures, their story is far from over. There are still mysteries hidden within their genes, secrets waiting to be unlocked that could hold the key to a deeper understanding of evolution, longevity, and even our own place in the natural world.
That's the beauty of science, isn't it? There's always more to learn. So until next time, remember to keep that curiosity alive, never stop questioning, and most importantly, keep exploring. Who knows what other wonders of the natural world are waiting to be discovered, just like the incredible Tuatara.